It's not overly salty or anything. It's not overly spicy. That is a fantastic kimchi. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are making kimchi. A long awaited video. I've had requests for it. We make it all the time here, every couple of weeks. We eat it all the time. This is our way of making kimchi. This is how I make it here at home with my wife. So let's show you how to do it. Chinese cabbage, Napa cabbage. What we do, we take off that end and then we just pull off the leaves. Now you can see that these are pretty much organic. They're full of holes and all the rest of it, but what we need to do is pull all these leaves off there, nice and individually. So just separate all your leaves. So that's our leaves of our Napa cabbage, Chinese cabbage, and I'll continue with this in a minute. These have to go in water, so we're going to put these in water, and we are going to put a tablespoon of baking soda in our sink full of water for this cabbage. There's 2 kilos of cabbage here, and what the baking soda does, it helps clean off all the chemicals and the bugs and things on there. I'm not going to go into it really technically. It's a good thing. So we need to get that in there. So in we go. And then it's just put our cabbage in there. So let's just carry on with some more. So we'll just leave those to soak in there for a little while and then we'll crack on. Right, so the next stage of this then, we've got to rinse all that baking soda off those cabbage leaves. They've been in there about 3/4 of an hour tops. That's enough. We're going to rinse them off, let them drain. So let's rinse them off. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got all our vegetable, which is washed, rinsed, and now it's draining away in that bowl. Everything's been stood up so the water drains off the cabbage leaves, and then we're going to chop it up. Right, so what we want to do, we want to take our cabbage. Now, there's a couple of ways to actually make this. You know, you can actually just put all the cabbage leaves in, salt it up, but we cut ours already, so when it's salted up, it's already cut when it's fermented in the jars or the tubs, and it's easy to eat. So we're going to cut it up, do it our way. Now we don't want to be cutting this up too much, but we've got a bundle of leaves here, look, and this stalk end here, we're just going to make a slit down there. So I'll just take a couple so you can see what's going on. We're going to take that down there like that, and we're going to cut that into square pieces, and then the top bit like this, we want a lump of leaf on there. We don't need to go too far down, so you can cut it in bulk like this, nice and steady through there. Cut that off there, straight through there, so we got these nice square lumps. Now it's not crucial to actually cut it in any particular special way, but like that, when it's fermented down and gone soft and soggy in the mixture, when it's fermented, it's easy to eat. So we just need to put all that in a bowl, and we're going to carry on with the rest. Right, so there's our cabbage chopped up. What we're going to do, we're going to add some sea salt. Now you can use any salt. I'm using sea salt, and I want about a cup of sea salt. and we're going to add it in stages. Now you can do about 1.5 cups tops, but about a cup's enough for this. So we want to put some salt in, and we're going to give it a mix in, turn it over and keep adding the salt so the salt covers the cabbage, and it's going to go all over because we've only got a small bowl. So all you got to do is just work your salt into your cabbage. Just turn it over, and yes, it's a small bowl, so we're going to have to just nice and gentle, and we'll just put the cabbage back in and work it down. So as you can see already, look, all that crispy veg that we had in there has already started to reduce with the salt in there. It's already shrinking down, and we don't have to worry too much about the salt in here because we're going to rinse it all off. So nice and steady, just turn it over, and you can see it's already reducing, and there is fluid forming in the bottom of this bowl already. Right, so this is going to be in this bowl for about 3 hours, and we're going to come and turn it over about every half an hour. So we're not going to worry about it, and it's going to shrink down in there. So we're going to leave it for about 3 hours and turn it over for about every half an hour. Right, well, we've got that cabbage going on there. Well, I've turned it once already. What we're going to do, we're going to actually put a couple of cups of water in this pan. We're going to add a couple of tablespoons of rice flour. Now I'm using glutinous rice flour, but you can use any rice flour. In fact, you can even use flour. So what we need to do, we're going to get that in there, and we're going to give it a little stir in so it dissolves, and then we're going to actually cook it. We're going to cook it on the flame. So just dissolve that in there. Now this is not corn flour, this is rice flour. So this is actually going to cook into a gloopy mixture. It's going to be like a little runny paste actually. What we need to do, we need to add about a tablespoon of brown sugar. The sugar and everything with the rice flour is actually going to help ferment. It's going to make that natural fermenting yeast in there. Now I'm not going to get too technical over all of this, but it needs that sugar to actually eat to ferment. Right, it's just starting to thicken up now. You can actually feel that paste forming in there. Now we just need to keep this as a runny paste, but a paste. Don't take it too thick. Okay, that's okay. It's boiled up. What we need to do is just turn that off, because obviously when it cools down it's going to be a bit thicker. So all we do now is let that cool down, and then we can use it. Okay, so we've washed and peeled our daikon radish and our carrot and our spring onions. Now the spring onions we're going to cut into about 1-inch pieces, and we're just going to put on our tray. So nice and steady, 1-inch pieces all the way up. And we're just going to put those on a tray. For our carrot then, we're going to julienne the carrot. We're just going to use a knife. So we just need to be cutting in there. They want to be matchstick thickness. We want some nice thin slices of carrot. Nice and steady. Don't cut your fingers. Nice and thin. So we'll just have those in half like that, because they're a little bit big. So we got these little bits of carrot there, look, we'll just put on there. And then we got our daikon radish. We're going to do about the same. I'm just going to chop that through there. So again, nice and thin. So that's our sliced up daikon radish, carrots and onions. We're going to put that to one side, and we're just going to blend some garlic, a pear and some onions. Right, so what we've got to do now, we've got to chop some stuff up, and I'm going to use a chopper. Now if you've got a food processor or something like that with a load of these blades in there, that's okay. So it's a straightforward job then. We're going to take our garlic and we're going to throw it in our chopper. Let's just come through on this onion, make it easier in our chopper. In we go. We've got some ginger, that's in as well. Then all we need to do is peel and core this pear. This pear is actually for sweetness, you know, and some people use apple juice as sweetness. But we're using this pear. It's more natural. It's going to have that natural sweetness from the pear in there. And you know, you can actually use apples. You could put apple in. So we're just going to make it easier. We're just going to cut through there. I'm going to add that to our chopper. Lid on, and we're going to blend it. But it's not a blender as such, it's a chopper, and it's going to fine chop, or it should do. That should get it. So there we are, blended up. So what we need to be doing is putting that mix in that bowl. Okay, I'm using Korean chili powder. Now this is not overly hot. It's not really spicy, it's got a really nice flavour, and we want about 1.5 cups of chili in there. So there's a cup, and there's about 1/2 cup. Right, we got some fish sauce. We're going to go in there with some fish sauce. And we're going to go in with all of that actually. There's not much there. That'll do. Right, let's just give that a mix up. Give that a start in there, and then we're going to add our rice our rice flour that we started to cook. All going to be mixed together. Our cooked glutinous rice flour in there as well, and don't forget this has got the brown sugar in. So I'll just get that a good mix in there. We're going to have a really nice paste. So as per usual, taste test. Is it salty enough? Is it sweet enough? It's actually delicious. I could eat that on toast. That is really good. Right. Right, we want to get our veg in there, so we're going to go in there with our daikon radish. We'll go over the top with our carrot. And then we're going to add our onions. And then we're going to give it a mix. Just nice and steady, mix it in. Okay, so that's our stuff mixed in there. Look, that's all our veg in there. And you would think this is going to be really spicy with all that red in there. But you know, it's not. So what we do is just going to put that to one side, and then we're going to give our cabbage the last turn in. And as you can see in there, there's an awful lot of water in there. So just give it the last turning over, and then we're going to give it a good rinse in. And as you can see, that was 2 kilos of cabbage, and that's all there is in there. Okay, so there's our cabbage. What we're going to do now, we're actually going to rinse that. We're going to rinse that salt off, get rid of that salt water. We're going to rinse it a couple of times. We're going to taste the cabbage. Taste the cabbage. It must be salty, but not over salty. So all we're going to do is rinse that out. Right, this is the gloves on job. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it without gloves on, but you can obviously. And you could just try and mix it with a couple of spoons if you wanted. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to get all that cabbage out of there into that bowl of chili mix and mix it all through on the cabbage leaves. So it's easier to do it with your hands. And then we just start by mixing it through. And don't rush this process, because really we want that chili paste on all those leaves. So that's our cabbage mixed in there with our chili and onions, carrot and daikon radish. So what we need to be doing now is put that in a container. So in we go, nice and steady. Now we don't really want to be squashing this in there. Get it in lightly. Okay, so that's our homemade kimchi there. We're just going to put the lid on. Okay, and we've got a couple more containers on the side there. And what we're going to do, we're going to actually keep this on the side for a day. Now, if you're in this is a hot country, so we're going to keep it on the side for a day to actually ferment. Now, if you're in a cold country, leave it on the side for 2 days, and then we stick it in the fridge. And the longer you keep this in the fridge, it obviously fermenting, it gets more sour. So if you don't want it too sour, eat it quickly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this on the side, and tomorrow I'm just going to give it a taste test before I put it in the fridge. Now it is going to taste better the longer it's left in the fridge. So here we are. Been sat on the kitchen side all day yesterday. Today we're just going to give it that little taste test before it goes in the fridge. That is amazing. That is absolutely superb. The longer you ferment this, the better flavour. It's not overly salty or anything, it's not overly spicy. That is a fantastic kimchi. All we need to do now, put the lid on, and we're going to put that in the fridge. And we're going to eat it. We'll probably start eating it anyway, but we're going to eat it from after 2 days. After 2 days, it's going to be delicious. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.